Καλημέρα. Μπορούμε να ξεκινήσουμε την εκδήλωση Ανοιχτής Επιστήμης.
Good morning. We can start the Open Science event on hydrogen-powered vehicles. Before we start, we should inform that we keep the COVID-19 measures in force, and we remind that all attendees should wear a protective mask throughout the event. Only the speaker at the podium can temporarily remove the mask. All attendees should remain seated and not change seats. Devices with antiseptic device are to be found in the walls around the room. The air condition in the amphitheater is also regulated in fresh air mode to achieve a better ventilation. The event is screened online through our Facebook page, the page of the Technical University of Crete. It is being recorded and photos will be taken. The material will be promoted, will be published in the communication channels of the foundation for promotional information purposes. At the event, we will have simultaneous interpreting in English offered by Mrs. Maria Xanthopoulou, conference interpreter. Whoever wishes can choose the English channel. Together with us is the professor, the rector, Evangelos Diamadiopoulos, and vice rector, Associate Professor Michaila Goudakis, who has now the floor in order to greet the event. Good morning to everyone. It is a great pleasure today to have this event at the Technical University of Crete, this Open Science event. On this day, we can present a scientific object in plain words for the broad public to understand, so that science can come closer to the society. In the framework of the EURECA-PRO University, where we are also participating, we chose a current subject. EURECA-PRO is the European University on Responsible Consumption and Production. So the subjects, its studies and researches, and the subjects of its studies programs are related to ecology, economy, and sustainable development. So our topic today for this Open Science event is also related to these topics. The TUCer group of the university for many years works on vehicles with zero emissions and low consumption. So it is present here today. We are glad to have them with us. The team will present its work on hydrogen-powered vehicles. And as you see on your screens, and in front of you, for those who are present here, we have here 3 vehicles in the room. Almost all team members are present with us today. We will have the chance to hear them, and they will talk to us about their work on hydrogen-powered vehicles and how did they manage to participate in international competitions and receive such distinctions. You can see the trophies here in the front. All these years, the team has gained many awards in various competitions. I wouldn't like to steal the time of the team itself, though, because they have more to discuss with us. We are here to learn from them. Thank you for being present here today and for your interest. Beyond this event live here in the amphitheater Manousos Manousakis, the event is also open through teleconference, and whoever wishes can follow the event online. We have also English interpretation offered by Mrs. Xanthopoulou. The event is also streamlined in Facebook for those wishing to follow from there. I hope you enjoyed the event, and we are waiting for the team to share their experience. Thank you very much, and I would like to congratulate you for your achievements all those years. Thank you. Since 2007, TUCer of the University of Crete designs, fabricates, and races with prototype electrical vehicles of low consumption and zero emissions, which use hydrogen as fuel. It consists of students and scientific personnel of the Technical University of Crete whose vision is a friendly, environmental friendly mobility, and they have a passion for motorsport. Participation in the team has always been voluntary, and their race experience throughout the years is accompanied by leading international distinctions. The group works in subgroups specialized on every part of the vehicle, researches and develops vehicles with advanced technology entirely in the labs of the University of Crete. It is supported by the Machine Tools Lab and the Intelligent Systems and Robotics Lab of the School for Production Engineering and Management of the University of Crete. Now we will see a video to meet the team. The sponsors, the TUC Eco Racing Team, Technical University of Crete, 14 years of history in hydrogen-powered mobility. Six prototype race vehicles. 8 international distinctions. 4 times first in safety competitions. First Energy Challenge at People's Choice Award. And the sponsors. Thank you. Founders and permanent members of the team are we continue. Founders and permanent members are Professor Nikolaos Tsurveloudis, Dr. Savas Piperidis, Dr. Polychronis Panoudakis from the School of Production Engineering and Management of the Technical University of Crete, and since 2020 members are the Assistant Professor Lefteris Doitsidis and Assistant Professor Dimitrios Ipsakis. Thank you for being here with us today. Welcome. They will present us hydrogen-powered vehicles. We have with us today Dr. Nikolaos Tsurveloudis, professor from Intelligent Systems and Robotics Lab at the School of Production Engineering and Management of the University of Crete. Dr. Savas Piperidis, Scientific Personnel, Intelligence Systems and Robotics Lab, School of Production Engineering and Management. Dr. Dimitrios Ipsakis, Assistant Professor, Industrial Energy Environmental Systems Lab from the School of Production Engineering and Management, Technical University of Crete. Mr. Vasilios Madelos, undergraduate student from the School of Electrical and Computer Engineering of the Technical University of Crete. Mr. Alexandros Tioutis, undergrad student, again at the School of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Mr. Emmanuel Zachariadis, undergraduate student at the School of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Mr. Konstantinos Achinidis, undergraduate student at the School of Production Engineering and Management, and Christos Stamatopoulos, undergraduate student at the School of Production Engineering and Management at the Technical University of Crete. Mr. Piperidis, you have the floor now. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. But most of all, I would like to thank the actors of EURECA-PRO program who invited us to participate in a very nice event. I represent the team here today, which has a history since 2007. We were glad to select in 2007, back in 2007. We were glad to make a choice and support this choice. This choice was about hydrogen. In 2007, the team was still searching for its identity, and among other topics related to competitions, student groups, labs, we also had the question about the vehicles we were about to design. The question was, what form of power should these vehicles use? This was a question we had in 2007, and then back in 2007, in particular, with regard to our contacts, in 2007, we didn't have a special interest for hydrogen, and there was a huge dilemma on whether we would use energy accumulators or hydrogen. This was not clear at the beginning. Our course is based on the racing character of vehicles. This is our target since our foundation. And taking into account the specifications of international competitions and the study we did in 2007, we decided to focus on hydrogen-powered vehicles. What did this mean in 2007 for us? It was a new technology, and we expected to use it in prototypes when the first stack, H2 self-fuel stack, arrived. The supply of this stack took place at the beginning of 2008. We were impressed by this technology. And very quickly, we had to deal with various issues regarding the originality of our choice. And very soon we realized that the choice of hydrogen involved many new challenges. Very soon after our choices, we came across those challenges. The tradition in automobile, as we knew it until then, was about internal combustion engines. Hydrogen-powered vehicles are completely different. It is very important to stress this. All procedures in the production and in the development, and in particular in the maintenance, are different. Hydrogen technology was the beginning of a new original course of the group. It stressed all hydrogen advantages and very few disadvantages, and later, gradually, our effort was supported by the choices of leading automobile industries, such as Toyota and Hyundai, presented trade models and supported for many years trade models until today. Trade models of cars, passenger cars, which use the same technological solutions we develop here in Crete as a group. I wouldn't like to give very technical details, but I would like to stress some conclusions. I think it's very important to present those conclusions based on our experience. First important thing related to hydrogen is that it is a clean power source of power. This is a very important issue. If we look at technical articles written by colleagues, we will see many objections to the notion of clean energy. It is accused from various groups for not being a clean energy, some groups. But despite that, let's see why it is we say that it is a clean energy, because in its production cycle, we can claim that its environmental footprint is minimum. Hydrogen is supported by renewable energy technologies because we need a lot of electrical power to fabricate hydrogen stocks. So overall, we could say that if the whole approach is done through renewable energies in the production, and if we safeguard the environmental terms of the legislation, in total, we will see that the hydrogen footprint is restricted only into the materials of wind turbines and photovoltaic panels, which is the same as in other technologies used, for example, by the public power corporation. And overall, I think it is one of the best choices, taking into account the future of our environment. More precisely, the hydrogen can be considered as a means to transform wind and solar power to mobility in cars. When we have much solar power or much wind power, like here in Crete, we have a lot of sun. This is a statistical element. Around 300 days we have are sunny here in Crete, so this is a huge clean source. to use for the production of electrical power, and then store this power in the form of hydrogen. And when we need hydrogen, to use it in cars, in vehicles. When it comes to consumption, so in the production, on the one hand, regarding the production of hydrogen, we are at a very good level environmentally, and at the second stage of the production, once the hydrogen is fabricated, it is used in cars. The technology used in vehicles, I will try to say it as simple as possible. The technology does not have noise, does not have emissions, and byproducts are limited to deionized water. So a hydrogen engine, after the production of power, we leave behind a quantity of deionized water. This is an important element which is not usually ranked among the advantages of hydrogen. This element concerns the chemical reactions used to produce energy from hydrogen. These reactions may also take oxygen from the atmosphere. In other words, we do not emit carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, but on the contrary, we consume some of the carbon dioxide of the atmosphere in this production chain. When using the vehicles, when we do our job, it was not designed, the initial target was not to decrease the carbon dioxide, but it is a positive evolvement that arised. Hydrogen produces electrical power, so the internal combustion engine is abolished. Hydrogen is related to electrical mobility, and the quality, the energy quality and quantity produced by the H2 fuel cell stacks. These stacks, for these stacks to work, we also need to use some other technologies to manage energy. So in the international research community, hydrogen, besides the challenges we had when we used it as a unit of electricity production, it created also other challenges related to the management of energy in the vehicle. In internal combustion engines, energy is not stored in any form, but now, in our experience, after 2-3 years with hydrogen cells, it was clear to us that we need to develop energy management techniques, and there begins a very long story we are still experiencing today, because a big part of the hydrogen technology is closely related to intelligent management techniques of electrical power. This was a very positive element we liked a lot. In other words, with the same amount of fuel to different policies of energy management in the same vehicle with the same truck can give us with different measurements in terms of consumption. So depending on the management we do, we can take a different efficiency level. This was extremely important. The team will talk more later about that. Finally, all these new topics for us since 2007 and onwards finally ceased to be new. We got used to them. And the trade reality of the automobile industry also included these. There are still two models, a new trade and marketing reality was created, and a new situation in the promotion of this technology. It's the second time I say this. It's very important. At the same time now, the reactions against hydrogen depart from the new technology of accumulators and the automobiles who use them, so departs from the competitors of the internal combustion engines. So the question now is, the accumulator will be the unit to store energy in the passenger cars, or will the automobile industry make a turn towards hydrogen? Our experience in our group and our contacts with foreign research groups, and also our contacts with the reality of the mobility, lead to the conclusion that for now there is no answer regarding the question of which technology is better. There are advantages and disadvantages. TUCer chose hydrogen due to very specific reasons related also to the policy of the competitions it takes part. But when we talk about passenger cars, and if we focus on the urban cars, city cars, hydrogen with an intelligent energy management presents many advantages. These advantages are at the same time disadvantages of accumulators. Basic disadvantages of hydrogen, there is only one basic disadvantage: the distribution circuit of hydrogen. This is, in my opinion, the great disadvantage. It is a very difficult problem, and its solution, in other words, the fabrication of new hydrogen stations, the circuit, the distribution network with transport means or in other form are still issues to be examined, and there is no evidence that we will have a viable trade solution for everybody. Now, imagine if 3 years ago, if we had discovered crude oil, and within some years we wanted to adapt all pipelines and factories and all trade distribution based on that. this took us 100 years to achieve for the crude oil. And now we are called hydrogen funds are called to respond to this problem within a few years. Last time I researched this topic in a European web page. If I'm not mistaken, there were about 180 distribution points of hydrogen around Europe. And mostly they were in Germany, England, Denmark, especially in Western and North Europe. In the Balkans, there is not even one distribution station to fuel your passenger car. If somebody, for example, opens a Toyota Mirai, they will not have a station where to by hydrogen. This is the main disadvantage related to hydrogen and to our everyday life. The same problem exists also partially with accumulators. We have there some charging points, and these are connected to the existing electricity network, but hydrogen stations need new infrastructure. There are also some objections regarding the construction of fuel cells and accumulators. These objections come from researchers and analysts who think that these technologies are not viable, at least not in the form we presented, because there are secrets related to the fabrication of a fuel cell and or an accumulator. I use the word secrets because they are hidden from constructors. There are some elements in very limited amounts in the earth, and these are to found only in specific areas, and this creates geopolitical concerns. We already know the cost of petrol, the geopolitical cost of petrol and importance. We try to abolish petrol, oil, and to replace it with something better, supposedly, but this creates its own problems, geopolitical problems as well. Technology promises that these issues will also be solved. Another article I read promised a real green construction of hydrogen cells without using these minerals, restricted minerals, which cause the problems. I hope both in accumulators and hydrogen technology, we will find solutions. I think it's a matter of interest from the trade world. If we see interest from traders, funds will be invested and viable fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cells and accumulators will be produced. Another huge problem with accumulators who are competitors to the hydrogen relates to the charging time and the charging scheduling. Hydrogen funds have a very good example. if we suppose that the buses of a big city is changed into accumulator motors, we will have problems because hundreds of buses will return to the station. At the station, until now, there wasn't a fueling system for internal combustion engines, and the fueling in this case with ICEs could last a few minutes, but on the other time, the other technique needs hours for the charging. With accumulators, charging lasts for hours, and the problem is not the duration, but the fact that all buses need to be charged at the same time when they finish their shift. This will make the bus system collapse. Hydrogen provides a solution to this problem because the fueling with hydrogen can be very safe and quick. The fueling needed for the time needed for fueling is more or less the same as in internal combustion engines, 4 or 5 minutes to get the fuel. Same with the hydrogen. Hydrogen is a winner regarding this point over accumulators. Our whole presence and racing experience of the team supports not to abandon, favors this solution, hydrogen solution. We don't want to abandon it, and we think that the solution at the future of automobile will be connected to hydrogen due to its performance in the existing technology. Now, with a unit which is very small, we can not even see it in the vehicle. We can move it. We can move the vehicle efficiently. Without having unwanted substances in our environment, and at the same time we have no noise, no emissions, and instead of that we have reliability with hydrogen cells which were not designed in order to be used in vehicles until now. This is important because it's different to use a unit to light this room and a unit that is hidden in a wardrobe. It is different to place a power unit on a vehicle and make it a mobile unit and use all those regional systems which are necessary to support the device and make all this system mobile. There is no technology at this moment we can access as a research group and have specialized products especially designed for cars. We just convert existing products, industrial products, into mobile systems. It is very different to use a static product on a vehicle that moves, has acceleration, there is temperature change, humidity change. Without having these specialized products, hydrogen technology has been developed in our labs. The vehicles you see have raced repeatedly in international competitions with very strict specifications, with a focus on safety, and our distinctions are based on safety and prove that with simple industrial choices, not specialized products, we have fabricated a vehicle that is reliable, it functions, and I could drive it in my everyday life as well. I highlight this because hydrogen and accumulators are competitors and they both have a good marketing. We don't want hydrogen in our everyday life, some say, because it is very dangerous. I wonder, the benzene, the oil we use for decades, isn't it dangerous? Isn't it flammable? Isn't it toxic for the environment? Yes, it is, but we are all used to it and we feel safe with benzene and petrol. We travel with our car, and doing this, we transfer a potentially flammable, a potentially explosive material, and it is very natural for us. The same thing is valid for hydrogen as well. It is colorless, no odor, no taste. If this means that we cannot realize it with our senses. We can die from hydrogen without even realizing there is a hydrogen leak. This is why some people say no to hydrogen because it is dangerous. I will say yes to hydrogen. Yes, it is dangerous. I admit that. But in our everyday life, we use products that are equally dangerous and we have learned how to use them. So I will say yes to hydrogen with under conditions. When as a team, we participated in international competitions for low consumption, and we earned many distinctions in the related to the safety issue. We thought a lot what to do with hydrogen, how to avoid accidents. First of all, for us as a personal, scientific personnel and students, we wanted to be safe in the lab when we have a lot of hydrogen under great pressure. How can we deal with this and stay safe? At the beginning, it was a difficult situation, but thanks to the technology we haven't, with a lot of attention, I guarantee that we never had an accident. The team can confirm that, and we didn't even come near to an accident. We never experienced a situation near an accident because there is technology that can protect us from all dangerous situations that can arise when using hydrogen. There is no reason to insist on that. I only mention it because It is presented as a great disadvantage of hydrogen against accumulators. This is why I thought it was worth mentioning it. I don't know if we have time for questions or should we continue. I think it is very interesting now to give the floor to the students. Mrs. Fradiadaki presented them earlier, and they will talk about the technological subpart they deal with. These vehicles were constructed in our labs, so each one of them can talk about the part of the work they did themselves. I don't remember the order of the students. Mr. Madelos is sick. I apologize for him not being here, but Mr. Schutis can come and talk to us. If he prefers, he could also show us some things on the vehicle, what they did in relation to electronic management of energy. We have various devices on the vehicle, and each one of them has a very important role. There is not such a need in there was not such a need in previous vehicles. They had a motor, the previous vehicles. When we needed the energy, it was at our disposal. So simple. But this was not economic enough. For example, when an ECE vehicle slows down, the mobility that is not wanted at the moment, it is released as heat in the environment. In our case, it's not the same. We reuse the unwanted power. Alexandre, please tell us how we organized our electronic and electrical systems in order to manage hydrogen. It's open. Hello. I am Alexandros Schutis. I participate in the group since summer 2021. I deal with the electronic parts of the vehicle. Regarding the vehicle, here we have the hydrogen cell. The cell is the production unit. It produces 24 volts, and then they come to the board, which is the brain of the car, and the cell at the same time. It is important to see that we have a stack of supercapacitors between the cell and the motor, because when there are sudden changes of the charge, the cell is not economic. So we need some intermediary means that safeguard that the cell will respond quickly to the engine needs, and the engine will take energy from the supercapacitor so that the cell has the time either to increase or decrease its efficiency. These supercapacitors have saved us literally, because thanks to them, the cell can function with less hydrogen. The board you see, there is a great change compared to previous vehicles. Our team in the past designed prototype boards in our labs. In previous vehicles, there are many boards because we divided the production in various parts. This has changed now, because we wanted to develop it more. We united all individual parts in one board of industrial type. only one board, a single board. This gave us two possibilities. First, the reliability increased because we sent the design to a company and we got a reliable board, and we also had the chance to use more economic parts because our target is to consume as less hydrogen as possible. So this we placed parts on this board which we studied, and we wanted for them to consume as less energy as possible. For the first time now, the team has designed its own stack of supercapacitors so as to give more energy to the engine and consume less hydrogen. This is our work more or less. Now we are testing the vehicles to detect if we have achieved our objectives. Hydrogen is indeed very efficient as a fuel, and it can be used in cars for mass production as well. This is all I would like to say. I don't want to give you many technical details. This is an idea of what we did. Thank you. Thank you very much. Are there any questions up to now? Either from attendees here or from the participants online. Those who follow online can open their microphone and make a question. If there are no questions, we can continue with Mr. Zachariadis. Hello, I am Zachariadis Emmanuel. I'm in the 5th year at the University of Crete, electrical engineer, and I focus on programming the brain of the vehicles. For the function of hydrogen and the electronic systems, we use a controller, BeagleBone Black, where we run Ubuntu Linux, used also in computers. We have taken a software that is free, available to everybody, and through this software and using PROS, we managed to all the sensors of the vehicle, and the vehicle can thus decide what is best for the efficiency and the safety of the driver. As Mr. Peperidis said, hydrogen is a flammable substance. It is lighter than air and can be more easily channeled and leaked. For this reason, we should not avoid it, but we who are potential scientists, we should create systems that are safe for consumers. So PROS uses a system of receiver and transmitter where all sensors send data to the brain of the vehicle, who is responsible to make decisions. There are limits, and if they are if the limits are passed, the interruption of the systems, the brain interrupts the function of the systems. We use this system a lot every day to prepare for the competition. Hydrogen is a very important part of our team. We will go to the competition using hydrogen, and we hope that hydrogen it will be possible to use the hydrogen in our everyday life as well. This is why we have an urban concept when designing the vehicle, so that we can use it in everyday life as well in the future. As team members, we prepare ourselves for a competition. This competition gives us a challenge regarding to the expectations for our country, our technical university. We try to give our best and compete teams that have better labs, better facilities, more staff. We want to show how a country with so much sun, with so much wind, we can take profit of, and store all this power in hydrogen form and use it later. Hydrogen can create a green energy source, because when we have so much sun in the summer, so many tourists come here in Greece to enjoy the sun. If we use the sun to produce hydrogen, this hydrogen can later be used during the whole year. We store hydrogen, and in this way, we store energy. Energy is not lost. It's not a good day which which finishes when the sun goes off. We store energy, and we take profit from the sun, and let us be the country which will motivate the sun and use hydrogen for the cars and also for the industry. This is all I want to say. I don't want to give many technical details about the function of the brain. It uses Python, if I can say a few. And we also use microcontrollers, Arduino, so as to achieve a communication and have a two-level safety. This is all from me. If you have questions, I'm here for you. Thank you. We can go on with our next speaker, Mr. Sachinidis. Good afternoon. I am Sachinidis Konstantinos. It's my second year in the team. I am the oldest member among the students, full 2 years. I focus on the engineering part of the construction. I participated in the construction of the new single-seated a vehicle who will run in the Eco Marathon in Holland. Initially, I would like to stress the biggest problem we had as engineers regarding the body cell of the vehicle. We don't have an internal combustion engine, ECE, which creates which needs more analysis and more complicated parts. But in the new chassis, we have a gas. which is, of course, dangerous, so we need to take preventive measures. A huge problem in the team is the weight. Our enemy is the weight. We need to develop a body cell that is at the same time light and safe for the driver, because we take part in a competition which demands the fabrication of an urban car. So for this reason, there are the mirrors and a comfort for the driver in the vehicle. Some technical issues. This year, the new chassis of the group is a hybrid chassis with materials such as carbon fiber and aluminum, and mechanical features are thus increased in comparison to older vehicles who initially we started with aluminum, then we added carbon fibers, but the upgrade of the new chassis consists of new aluminum alloys. We used a glue and various geometrical arrays. At the same time, we upgraded to double wishbone scissors, while the old vehicle had this only in the front. Now we have them in the front and the back. One of the major advantages of the new chassis is that we paid attention to the details. We wanted to make a chassis with the minimum dimensions required by a driver. So we decreased the weight and paid attention to the detail for this. The detail is not about the chassis, it is details are taken into account in other components as well, such as the steering system, which for the first time has a crémaillère. You will say this is more heavy than the other steering systems, but in fact we concluded the opposite. This year we also cooperated with another group from another technical university, Prometheus. They received us in their labs, and thank you very much. And there we developed the floors of the new vehicle from carbon fibers, thus reducing the weight and avoiding the traditional technique and focusing on the resilience of the floor. At the same time, we cooperated with electronic engineers for the bottle, the cell, and other electronic systems at the back of the car. We had an excellent cooperation with the other team members using 3D printing. In the previous cars, we have plain aluminum, no 3D, but now for the first time, we used 3D printing to develop bases with minimum cost. And we managed to regulate these, which helps us so as to place the bottle, which should remain stable on the cell and on the body cell, and also the fuel cell. So we studied a lot the details to develop these components. I don't want to give more technical elements on 3D printing and other stuff. I want to pass the floor on the other members for them to talk as well, more in particular about 3D printing. This is all from me. Thank you. I don't know if you have something to ask. Thank you. From what I see, there are no questions. So Mr. Stamatopoulos has the floor now. Hello, I am Stamatopoulos Christos, fourth year at the School of Production Engineering and Management. I joined the group in September 2021 and I focus on the engineering, mechanics engineering part. I will tell you some things about the 3D printing. First of all, let me mention the wheels. We have concluded to use a light style which can receive various powers, various forces from different directions. Then we have the brakes, hydraulic brakes from a vehicle, two wheels vehicle with small cubic meters. There are two supplies for the brakes, one for the front brakes and one for the rear brakes. Regarding 3D printing, many things are placed on the chassis using the various materials. We have test materials such as PLA, which are printed to check various problems that need to be corrected in dimensions, and then we use materials, more resilient materials with different characteristics like PEG carbon. This was used in the suspensions as well, and we have a complicated geometry here, which helps us a lot in order to avoid other more time-consuming procedures. Now, we have also used carbon fibers, and we will try to make some upgrades regarding to that. For example, a carbon steering wheel, we hope to have it soon. This is more or less from me. Thank you all. Are there any questions? Some of the team members, can you tell us when the next competition takes place and where? Mariela, yes, please. Hello from me as well. I'm Markela, first year in the Production Engineering and Management School. I recently joined the team in September. The race will take place on the 31st of May in Aarssen, Holland. We were a dynamic team. We have made a good effort and we upgraded as much as possible given the time we have at our disposal. Thank you. Good luck. Mr. Tsurveloudis. Good afternoon. Welcome you all, the team members and the administration of the Technical University. Markel, I have a question. If the journalists do not destroy the vehicle, what motivated you in your first year to join this team? What do you think you can gain from this experience? Why is it interesting for you? Initially, I learned about the group through the interview they gave in the magazine Tesseris Trochi for Wheels. And when I read what they do and about their work, I was motivated and I thought this will be a very valuable experience. You cannot easily found elsewhere. It would help me to learn a lot of practical stuff and apply the theoretical knowledge I learned at the school in practice in the group. Is this happening? Yes, this is happening now. I am still very young, so I don't have much theoretical knowledge for now, but for now, I have learned many things, although I joined only very recently, and I hope I can learn more. Thank you. Another question? Thank you. Now, Assistant Professor Mr. Dimitris Ipsakis has the floor. Good morning. Thank you all team members who contributed to this effort, this event, Mr. Lagoudakis, Diamandopoulos, Mrs. Fragiadaki. It is a very nice initiative to have such presentations which unite many universities throughout Europe and the Balkans and other European countries represented by EURECA-PRO. What I liked the initial idea is that this is an event that goes beyond the classical standard of making a PowerPoint presentation, as you saw here today. Various specialties undertook a difficult part, how to integrate a new fuel, hydrogen, into a new vehicle in a sector that traditionally uses oil, petrol, benzene, and electrical mobility with accumulators more recently, but hydrogen along with accumulators appear in a very critical moment when we try to have a cleaner environment. I will also tell you some things about hydrogen. We started some years ago and we chose hydrogen, and now here we have a pool stored in a high pressure to move a vehicle for many kilometers. Hydrogen is a fuel, is a gas, a light gas. The main advantage is that it has a very low weight and high energy efficiency in comparison to diesel and petrol. 55 or 40 megajoule per kilo. For the same amount, hydrogen gives 3 times more efficiency. So it is of a great advantage. If we make this comparison reversely, if we examine volume units, hydrogen has a disadvantage because it is a gas. But what the corporations managed, as Mr. Peperidis said, is to achieve a huge progress in 2 things. First, to find an engine to replace ICEs. This engine is the fuel cell that is placed on the vehicle and replaces the ECE, which exists in most cars in the world. This was achieved thanks to the progress of fuel cells. What are these fuel cells? It is an electrochemical device with 2 entries. Through the one entry, hydrogen enters, and through the other oxygen enters, and between these 2 there is a membrane which lets hydrogen ions pass through. Hydrogen consists of protons and electrons. So protons move from left to the right, and they pass to the opposite side, get in contact with oxygen, and they create a reaction which produces water and heat. When the hydrogen is divided into protons and electrons, the movement of electrons, as we know it from our studies, from physics, creates electrical power. So scientists managed to produce electrical power without noise and totally safely. This is the main advantage for hydrogen cars. In the last years, we have the data sheet of one of the companies. In total, there are 2 companies which produce and sell hydrogen cars. And the advantage is that this fuel cell is about 70-80 kilos, which is a small amount of the weight of a vehicle. In a trade vehicle is below the driver's seat, this fuel cell. I don't refer to this racing car here we have now. The electrical power is channeled to the motor, and at the back we have We have the hydrogen stock. There are two pools of 5, which can contain 5 kilos of hydrogen. One passenger car of 1,000, like a 1,000 car, 1,200 cubic meters car. So 5 kilos of hydrogen can move the vehicle for 500, around 500 kilometers. These 5 kilos can allow somebody to have an autonomous drive for 500 kilometers approximately. So with one full pool of hydrogen can go from Thessaloniki to Athens, for example. So why one should prefer a hydrogen vehicle and not one electrical powered vehicle with accumulators? Regarding autonomous driving, electrical powers need to be charged, and constructor companies tell us that the autonomous driving can last for 150 and 180 kilometers with accumulators. So this means that for a route from Athens to Thessaloniki, one needs to stop 2 or 3 times and charge the vehicle for about 30-40 minutes until the next station. The hydrogen vehicle as an experience, as a driving experience, is not very different from ordinary drivers. They only stop when the hydrogen level is very low. On the contrary, electrical powers, similarly to laptops and mobiles, we always look at the charging, at the battery level, and we should always make sure to find a charging station. Of course, hydrogen vehicles cannot compete directly electrical vehicles, but in a framework where we want to protect the environment and start exporting mineral source fuels, start abolishing these sources. These electrical vehicles and hydrogen pilots need to complement each other. Both technologies are needed in our society, one for urban mobility, the other one for longer distances. This is my personal thought on how hydrogen cars can be utilized in the future. Regarding hydrogen, how is it produced? Now, more than 50% of global hydrogen production is based on natural gas. This is a fossil fuel, a conventional fuel. It is produced by methane, which reacts with water in the form of vapor in high temperatures, and they produce monoxide and dioxide, carbon monoxide and dioxide, and hydrogen. And from there, we take hydrogen and we use it in various applications such as cars. But this technology produces also carbon monoxide and dioxide, which are gas emissions related to the greenhouse effect and the increase of temperature. Already in cold countries such as Norway and Sweden, we see that temperatures increase there as well, especially in the summer. In order to solve this, if we wish to advance with hydrogen technologies, we need to expand what we already do, that is invest on renewable energies. One of the team members mentioned that by using solar and wind power, we can produce huge amounts of hydrogen. This is true if we utilize renewable energies, sun and wind, namely, through a procedure which is reversed electrolysis of water. We can have pure water pools and insert their electrical power and divide water into oxygen and hydrogen. And this hydrogen is very clean. We take 99.9% pure hydrogen, so we don't need any more stages to clean it. We can store it directly in bottles and in pools and containers, and these can be transported to distribution stations. Historically, in 1870, Jules Verne, in The Mysterious Island, he mentioned an extract saying that there is a vision that in some years the world can be based on water as a source of energy. There was also a picture depicting sun and water, which can give us hydrogen, oxygen, and heat. I don't know if the writers of that era also had a vision regarding the use of hydrogen, but this is now happening in practice. We do divide water into its components, hydrogen and oxygen, using electrical power. If this electrical power comes from wind turbines or solar panels, or through geothermal power like in Iceland, gradually we can produce hydrogen, which is more and more economical to us. In 1950, NASA used fuel cells in space missions. So this technology has started 70 years ago. These fuel cells, I have seen them in trade cars, and I was impressed from how much this technology has progressed. It is a very difficult construction. What I mentioned, the combination of electrolytes to build a fuel cell, we need 370 pieces. These are the cells. These need to be very well bound together. We mustn't have any leak or loss of oxygen and hydrogen, because any leak may compromise safety. Chemical engineers, electrical engineers, production engineers, mechanics engineers, all engineering specialties are involved in this technology, and each specialty can contribute their idea to build a fuel cell. I think that in the next 5 years, if this technology progresses more, and proves that they can be placed on trade vehicles and be efficient, I think that they will manage it. Mr. Piperidis mentioned some issues related to the fuel cell. I would like to add something, which is the metal of platinum which is used. It is very expensive, 36 to 40 euro per gram, and one fuel cell needs 30 to 40 grams of this metal. So around platinum, this metal platinum, around 1,000 euro is the cost for the use of this metal. We need also converters to produce current power DC to alternative. There are management, the energy management systems. An important part is how to distribute hydrogen in Europe. There are around 200 stations, mainly in Central Europe, and 90 to 100 are in Germany, around 30, 40 in the UK, and the other ones are in Denmark, Austria, and 2 more in Iceland, hydrogen stations. It is an expensive construction to build a hydrogen station, charging a petrol to build a petrol station or a charging station costs less. A hydrogen station costs 10 to 20 times more than petrol and electrical power charging stations. So a private corporation, if they want to invest on hydrogen stations, they need many funds, and big corporations need to lead the way in this because they can make progress happen. They can affect a lot the energy course globally. So we expect them to invest to build hydrogen stations in each country. In Greece and in the Balkans, we are not in that level. If somebody wants to buy a hydrogen car, it's not suitable now to do this now. They rather need to wait for some years. Besides minor disadvantages related not so much to hydrogen production, because we know that there are many corporations that invest on photovoltaic panels, electrolysis units, and wind turbines in a level of gigawatt. So for this reason, I think hydrogen will enter our lives very soon. It will not be forgotten. It will stay. I believe this. And these are the signs we get from many European policies where there are hydrogen programs to promote this technology in the market. White Dragon is a program in Greece, in Western Macedonia, where electrolysis units are being installed. I think it will reach 2 gigawatts soon, and 3 to 4 times this quantity in photovoltaic panels and wind turbines. So we will soon see containers with compressed hydrogen circulating. There is a possibility to channel hydrogen into existing natural gas facilities. So to have a blend of methane and hydrogen, which is channeled underground into various stations. To conclude, regarding the storage of hydrogen, one might say that this is like a bomb if it explodes. Yes, this is true when there are the right preconditions, but it is mainly a myth when hydrogen leaks into the air. It needs to reach 4%, a level of 4% in the air, and after that level, an explosion may happen. Hydrogen is leaked into the atmosphere and usually does not reach this level, so we don't need to be so much afraid. If we are in a closed space, of course, there, yes, we might have a strong explosion and a disaster. I have seen videos with hydrogen pools in closed rooms and conventional fuel pools in closed rooms. A leakage is permitted, and for the same room, the explosion did not happen in the hydrogen pool, but 9 out of 10 times in the conventional, it happened in the conventional fuel pool, petrol or diesel. This is only to reassure those who are afraid having hydrogen in their car. One last part, how can we supply hydrogen, the vehicle with hydrogen? There are bottles of high pressure that supply hydrogen. When the pressure reaches 700 watt, then the supply is interrupted from the pools. There are experts to build these, so I don't think there is a fear for leakage. This is just a small introduction for the hydrogen part, to tell you what is being done in research and technology, in the research and technology field. Thank you, a big thank you to all the members who contributed to this event. If there are questions, we are here for you. I didn't hear the question. Good afternoon. Is there any cost, mobility cost for this type of fuel? For example, every 100 kilometers? Yes, approximately. We think that Toyota Mirai has a pool of 4.5 kilos of hydrogen with a price of 10 euro per kilo. We have now in Europe, we talk about 45 to 50 euros cost for a 500 kilometers distance. So with a price of 10 euro per kilo, you can drive approximately 100 kilometers. When it is widespread, then we will also have value-added tax, distribution costs. Then I think adding this as well, the real cost will be 16 to 17 euro per kilo. Is there any other question? Thank you. Thank you, TUCer. A big thank you to the TUCer TUC Eco Racing Group. One question. The students who wish to join the group, who should they contact with, and how often do you accept new members? This is my question. I like the answer I'm going to give. In the last 4 years, the team has led us to select new members exclusively by older students. This means that older students are the ones who will select new members. This is our selection principle. At the beginning, we were hesitant, but this was a very good way to continue the tradition of the team because all members are volunteers. And when they are replaced, they try to safeguard that a good cooperation with efficiency, a safe cooperation will be continued. So themselves are the best persons to detect these skills to the new members. How often do we accept new members? It depends on the needs of the team. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we had some difficult periods, but when our program gets smooth again, I can say that once per year we accept new members. We are open in the online, in the social media, in the announcements of the university. We do announce such opportunities so that everybody can be informed and pass through the selection procedure, which involves even written exams from what I know. Mr. Peperidis, can we also mention briefly our sponsors? Of course, you are right. We would like to thank the Technical University of Crete for their support since the foundation of the team until today. Also, a big thank you to the whole administration, which supports the work of TUCer. The administration helps us a lot, makes it possible to fight bureaucracy. Then our mega sponsor, Beta, supports us for more than 10 years. Also, since this year, we have with us the construction company EURECA-PRO, and especially its energy division. The local company ANEC Lines based in Chania is with us since the beginning of the team. IPG and other ABB who help us a lot. The Association of Repair Technicians is also a local partner who helps us a lot, and we thank them. The bicycle shop Adonis Bikes, and lately we also have a business that helps us with wheels. It's a local business, Automoto Service. All sponsors are loyal to us for many years. We thank them a lot. I did not realize how many years they support us. There are also others who will not be mentioned right now. We only mention the current ones, the current sponsors who are with us for many years. Beta is with us for more than 10 years, for example. Thank you all attendees and all online participants. Is there any more? Another question from the chat, maybe? We have hydrogen-based mobility. Does it have any recyclable parts, consumable parts, I'm sorry, for example, change of oils in this direction? Not really, I would say. Maybe Mr. Ipsakis can tell us more. I think the consumable parts are about relate to the damage of the cells. But consumables like the traditional ones in conventional cars of ECE engines, I think we don't have them. Mr. Ioannis Niktas asked this question. If you wish, Mr. Niktas, we can open your microphone as well. Only to add, I would like to add something. The fuel cells has also a cooling system which needs some water around the cell so as to prevent an increase in temperature above a limit, like the traditional car cooler. This needs a regular control by a mechanical engineer. The electric motor, after some years, also it needs also a check in its electrical parts, because it's not an ICE, so it needs a different approach in the repair station. The electrical motor does not have movable parts that get in touch with it or each other. Besides its central axis, if we besides that, the other parts are not consumables, and theoretically they can function for an unlimited period of time. They do not get damaged. Thank you. Is there another question before we conclude the event? Can we conclude? Thank you very much. A big thank you to all participants, either the attendees here or online participants. A big thank you to the TUCer group. We wish you good luck. Thank you, Mega and Gold sponsors.